I was going to introduce Geri Jewell, who you know from many years, 4 seasons on The Facts of Life, which is 30 years ago, I guess, already on television. Wow, a long time ago on TV, and went on to do many other roles. Geri was born with cerebral palsy, and she was the first individual with a disability to appear in a recurring role on primetime TV. So kudos to you for breaking that mold, Geri. That must have been very important for you as a performer to be the first.
It was. It was an amazing journey to take, and I had no idea what a pioneer I was.
Right.
I was just a kid going after a dream, and I never really saw cerebral palsy as my disability, and I think that was the key to my success.
That's a great way of putting it. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Now, tell us about how that role came to pass. How did that happen for you?
I was asked to perform at the second annual Media Awards out in L.A., I believe in 1980, and I was introduced to Norman Lear that evening. And he told me never to forget him. He said, "Don't forget my name, kid." And 6 months later, I was cast on Facts of Life on Christmas Eve, actually, in 1980.
What a gift. That's a great Christmas present.
Yes.
Now, prior to all of that, Geri, you were a stand-up comedian.
Yes, I was.
How did you find the strength within you? If somebody, as you said, you didn't realize you had a disability, but for anybody to go on stage, first of all, is very difficult. Second of all, to do comedy. I mean, that's probably the most raw form of performance, because it's you putting yourself out there, trying to be funny, looking for that physical reaction from an audience.
Yes.
So with all of this, now you have this disability. Tell me about that decision for you to move forward. Were you always a funny kid?
I was always a funny kid because it was my way of connecting with people, because people were uncomfortable with me, and I usually had to be the one to break the ice. So humor was the best way I knew how to go about it. And truthfully, my disability, more so having to do with cerebral palsy, it had to do with being a survivor of special ed. And if I hadn't had been in special ed so long, I probably would never have tried stand-up. I believe that because I was so sheltered, I didn't know the odds were against me. I had no idea what I was doing. It's kind of like the theory of the bumblebee. Technically, the bumblebee cannot really fly because its body weight is too heavy for those 2 little wings. But the bumblebee doesn't know that, so it goes ahead and flies anyway. And that's about what I did. It's like I had no idea what I was up against.
When you first went on stage, can you remember the first performance as a stand-up comedian with the club and the experience, and what was the reaction of the audience?
Truthfully, the first time I ever performed, they introduced me as a man.
Oh.
Because my name was Geri.
Right.
So they automatically assumed it was a he.
Right.
And I walked up on stage and you could hear a pin drop. It was like, everybody was whispering like, "Oh my God, is that really a man?"
Okay.
and she's, "Oh, is it a she?" And boy, she's really screwed up on some kind of drug. Or she's drunk, I don't know. And I broke the ice with comedy and got a standing ovation the very first night I ever performed.
That must have been an amazing feeling for you.
It was, and I still have that little cassette tape from that night.
Oh, I remember comedians used to do that, right? They set up the cassette player to hear their set, listen back to it, evaluate it.
Yes, that's what we were told to do.
How old were you at this time?
I was 22, and I was emotionally probably 10, 11. I was a real young 22-year-old.
Mm-hmm. And here you were in Los Angeles?
Yes.
So you had come from Buffalo, New York?
No. I was born in Buffalo, and yes, that was my first disability.
No offense, people in Buffalo, but it's very funny.
But, no, we moved out to California very, very young because of me. my parents realized that the most progressive hospital at the time for children with birth defects was UCLA. And my parents picked up their whole life and moved to California for me. So I started in LA I grew up in Orange County, so I kind of commuted from Orange County to LA to do the Comedy Store the first couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful part of the country, Orange County.
Oh, yeah, it is. A lot of oranges.
A lot of oranges and a lot of sunshine. Geri Jewell is my guest on Valerie's New York. Her book, I'm Walking as Straight as I Can, really all of this information about her life and her disability and her great successes fall within the pages of I'm Walking as Straight as I Can, now available for sale,
yes,
I should say. Written with Ted Nicholson and the foreword by Patty Duke.
Yes.